You may be wondering why this video is popping up on your feed again. I saw this shit already, you think to yourself. Let me explain. YouTube took the first version down for inappropriate content. What was the offending content? I don't know. They never told me what it was. So in this case, I'll have to censor anything I feel could be inappropriate. This video is the end result. As for why it didn't come out until now, I was on a mini vacation. This always happens when you're away, doesn't it?
Steps in trouble. Sack ball is loose. This will pop up. Kick work. Gillum to one, and Gillum loses the ball.
If I've been breaking every FCC rule in the book.
Field and it passes. Dropped by Swift.
I'm calling both games.
We've somehow made it. Football has returned to the sports world. It'll be a bit creepy without capacity crowds in attendance, but this calls for a celebration. The sponsor of today's video, Raycon, came up with these festivities with their everyday E25s. Several years ago, Ray J had a dream. To deliver a premium earbud with a sleek design, but at about half the cost of the big boys on the scene. This is where these babies come in. Look at them. With their seamless Bluetooth capabilities, plethora of color options, and booming bass quality. With over 6 hours of battery life and a comfortable noise-isolating fit, it's perfect to sit back and watch some pigskin for weekends to come. But if you don't feel like they're for you, they have a 45-day return policy to make sure you get the best option for your enjoyment. What's there to lose? Act now and get 15% off of your order by going to buyraycon.com/utree. These Raycons are beautiful babies, and it's the way to roll this football season. Now on to the important stuff, the games. Things may be fucked in this world, but at least for one fleeting moment, we have some hope. The Kansas City Chiefs are beating the shit out of teams again. Yes, in front of a captivating audience rivaling that of fourth quarter blowouts, the Texans were flayed and served as raw sushi. Sadly, Andy Reid could not indulge due to his face shield. The score is closer than it truly was. It was an ass stomping of the highest order. Houston got to believe that trading their best wideout for David Johnson was good for about a drive, and that was it. Nobody could get much separation from the Chiefs' secondary until garbage time. Wouldn't hurt to have Nuke Hopkins back, wouldn't it? Browns football!
Jackson throws. Oh, what a grab!
Whenever you think there's hope, there's a way further down.
Oh, we're going to fake it. Gillum to run, and Gillum loses the ball. He wasn't going to get there anyway.
Now starring Johnny Mayfield and his relentless rolls to the right.
Rush coming. That ball was tipped. Ravens felt like they got it clean on a pick.
And a wide chorus of analytical darlings and high-profile underachievers. Watch as Baltimore turns them into a clam bake with the finest spices this side of Old Bay. Now with sexy new uniforms as they reinforce stale narrative after stale narrative. Browns football! Catch the fever! Because the Browns sure as shit aren't catching anything else. Do you remember the magic of Week 17? When Ryan Fitzpatrick took a team in the tank to a glorious victory against the evils of New England in their own stadium? How it shook up the entire dynamic of the NFL playoff structure? Well, that's gone. And instead we have Cam Newton returning to previous form with both the arm and his legs. The signing was low risk for both player and team, and if he continues to be this, both will be needing cigarettes after such action. On the other side of the docket, we have another wonderful return to form. Fitzception. Miami, this is the part where you learn not to trust him for more than one season, lest you are eternally tormented with this horrible curse. Two of the other teams in your division can back me up on this. The Jets were pissed off before the season started. They felt like they were being slighted by the pundits and fans alike. They are going to make serious noise this season, you know? Well, they were right. They stumble around and break a bunch of precious artifacts in fine china. No answers for Josh Allen or any part of Buffalo's offense. Incredible offensive ineptitude on their own. Sam Darnold deciding it would be a great time to both make boneheaded decisions and have his receiving core develop the dropsies. Everything this franchise touches turns to absolute shit, and this game was the textbook display of it. They have a new offensive line, you say? Let it be out-muscled at every turn. Imagine being a fan of a team that pisses off every elite talent it somehow develops. The Jets make it too goddamn easy to make fun of them. Russell Wilson, meet your newest victim of a secondary. It's called the Atlanta Falcons. They will have absolutely no answers against your might. Don't worry that the Falcons have talent on offense, they will find ceaseless ways to fuck it all up. For this is Atlanta, and they are pretending that nothing is truly wrong with how they're running things. Even if they get the chance to make a statement, they'll suffer a lapse in concentration and fall into a chasm, be it by failed fourth down conversions or not. The Seahawks did what they had to do, and that's all it took. Keep this up and there will be a playoff berth in your future. You gave up less points than the Marlins did runs against the Braves.
A rivalry as old as time. Packers and Vikings facing off head-to-head in a fight to the death. As how it is usually written, the Packers use their status as the older brother to their advantage. Minnesota is forced to Yes, even after they pay Dalvin Cook, there will not be any sort of celebration. Aaron Rodgers has a chip on his shoulder. There are grumblings about his decline. The Packers drafted his potential successor. He needs to prove that he's still got it. For this week, he has. He took the glory of his past successes and chose to, well, kick the city while it's down. Sadly, there is only crying into a pint of Ben & Jerry's. When the offense can't keep up with the assault, it's the only option. There are no fans allowed in Washington for this first game, which is a real bummer for the Eagles fans willing to drive down to DC. On second thought, that might be the best option for them. But Tree, you say, the Eagles are 17 points off of their heads. Why the pessimism? Well, the only guess I have is that Philadelphia wants to introduce themselves to necromancy. With how many injuries they've suffered, the Eagles are being transported to the Western Front in World War I. What is an offensive line? Certainly not with the amount of dead strewn in no man's land. This includes Carson Wentz, who not only got wrecked all game, but is now about to be pummeled by an angry mob outside of the link. Wide-scale offensive ineptitude was the call of the second half. That and giving up 27 unanswered points against the football team? Jesus Christ, what the hell is wrong with you? You seriously expect me to believe this offensively challenged team can do that by themselves? Good God, you are trash.
You blew it, man.
The new age of Carolina football begins. Fans can only hope it won't be like the agony of the past 2 generations, where they were close to greatness but could never seal the deal. This was personified in their matchup against the Raiders. They did better than expected offensively, but I can't really tell if that's because of their efforts or just how awful the Raiders' defense is. It's probably a little of both. Raiders fans, you should be thanking God for Josh Jacobs. He may have been the main catalyst for Las Vegas escaping with a win in the end. Still weird calling them that, but at least they looked formidable offensively. It's a game they needed to win and they did. I'm still worried about the defense, but it's only week 1. The Heart of Duval is the only team that has allowed fans to show up to the stadium in the 1 p.m. batch of games this week. But with the way Jacksonville dismantled their promising core, I doubt anyone would willingly go to these games if bribed to. It appears that the Indianapolis Colts are a few of these apathetic souls. They unfortunately didn't get the message that Jacksonville is still, sadly, a professional team. And it was all because of one man. Gardner Minshew is imitating a certain Fitzpatrick from last season and doing his best to single-handedly ruin this team's majestic tank. Near perfection against the allegedly good Colts defense gives them the lead. At least the Colts have Phillip Rivers now, so... Oh yeah, the brutal back-breaking interceptions. He had another one. No, Rivers, this isn't a DJ Khaled performance. Seriously, how in God's name did you lose to Jacksonville? This was a gimme win, for fuck's sake! What? So the Bears are seriously tripling down on the Trubisky train? I'm not surprised, but all I can do is predictably snark at Chicago. In the first half, Trubisky was horrid. Straight putrid. Wild inaccuracy, terrible reads, the stuff that has Twitter rightfully dunking on him. Detroit, even with a substandard offensive performances for their opportunities, pulled ahead to a 17-point lead by the fourth quarter. It should have ended here, but remember what team we're dealing with. The same one that thinks cheating off the Patriots' homework is progressive and whose head coach's idea of defensive tactics is... Yeah, the Lions did end up losing 3 cornerbacks to injury, but to give up 21 unanswered points to fucking kissing titties? Do you realize everyone loses now? The Bears can still pretend that Mitch is the answer as he stat pads against 4th stringers and terrible coaching. The Lions not only falter offensively when it matters, they'll make an aggressive push to keep Stafford spinning the wheels of futility. Just come back and bail out your awful coach, Matt.
Stafford downfield and his pass is dropped by Swift.
No! DeAndre! No! You had it! You had it all within your fingertips and you pissed it away! Detroited yet again. He'll be a perfect fit for this team.
You blew it, boy! You really blew it!
Prepare for the new dream team. It just might need a few more weeks to fix up all the glitches. The whole offense honestly looked incredibly off sync. Tom Brady, have you been warned about quarterbacks in the first year of Bruce Arians' offense? They throw a lot of picks, even pick sixes. It's almost as if the preseason and mini-camps are needed by teams to develop chemistry between new parts of the roster. New Orleans did not need it. They're returning most of the team back from another bitter disappointment. In the case of Alvin Kamara, the schisms have been mended and incredible payments have been secured for the future. He celebrated this contract by mashing the Bucs defense for touchdowns aplenty. You can't really put much into Tampa's performance here because it is New Orleans, but not a good start so far. What in the fuck is this special teams play? That's amateur shit. Even then, I'll need a few more weeks before I can say if I'm vindicated or not. Joe Burrow has returned home. His first start in the NFL signifies a new age for the Bengals. One that will hopefully result in them getting past the wildcard round for the first time in 30 years. This will be a mirror match against the Chargers, another team undergoing a rebuild after years of incredible futility. This game was two teams trying to find their new identities. There wasn't much offense here, but that's because there are so many new pieces at key positions that you can't gauge anything from it. All there is to go on is that the Chargers, led by Tyrod Taylor, managed to keep the mistakes to a minimum. Cincinnati, no such luck. A fumble and an interception gave LA the gift of 10 unanswered points. But even then, there's hope. Joe Burrow is having his first big boy drive. He took the short passes the Chargers were giving him. He looked like a poised veteran instead of a mere greenhorn. They even nearly got a touchdown, but AJ Green did the forbidden act of pushing off a defender. Would be nice if you could still... At least Fat Randy gets a chip shot to tie it up. For good measure, Bullock tweaked his hamstring while he shanked a gimme shot. Joe Burrow, meet the Bungles. I tried to warn you. I've always wondered what it would be like to play football in an apocalyptic setting. It's not hyperbole to claim that the entire West Coast is literally burning to the ground. Air pollution levels are higher there than they are in fucking India. There were rumors that this game would be moved or postponed, but the NFL bribed Mother Nature to increase the air quality. The game would go on as scheduled. Arizona see the reason why everyone laughed at the Texans for trading one of the best wide receivers in the game. Like Houston should have done, he also got paid by his new team. And it's a bridge deal, so could result in more money in the future. For the Niners, though, they couldn't do much on the offensive side of the ball to justify dominance over NFL's Texas Tech. In fact, they lost. It's honestly deserved. There were way too many lapses on both sides of the ball to justify a win either way. The NFC West is going to be a bloodbath, isn't it? Behold, the competitor to Jerry Boy's ego shrine, SoFi Stadium, funded by Dan Kroenke. The Rams no longer have to deal with the antiquated stadiums of old, especially when facing the Cowboys themselves. Even though Dallas is trying to usher in a new age without clapping, they keep falling into the same traps. The offense put up stats, yet never really converted when it mattered. The defense sorely missed Byron Jones in the secondary. And the coaching. Please explain why you go for it in the red zone with 10 minutes left when you have a chance to tie. Be aggressive, sure, but why the hell do you go conservative beforehand and run a draw on a 3rd and 6? There's being bold and being dangerously stupid, even as the Rams were begging you to take it. As a result, the Cowboys end up losing a winnable affair. By the way, Rams, your uniforms look fucking hideous. That's the biggest loser of the day to me. Don't you worry, Dallas fans. The refs will give you a convenient scapegoat for your own failures. As much as you bitch, this penalty wasn't getting overturned. Even all of Yinzerland celebrates this festive occasion. Big Ben has returned. Despite the elbow injury threatening his career, neither does the Steelers defense. I know it's a formidable crew, but this Giants offensive line is terrible. Repeatedly missing reads, unable to create holes for Barkley, making Daniel Jones's day a living hell. And that's when he isn't making strange decisions with the ball. All Ben had to do was breathe and he would have led this team to a win. The Giants were that sloppy on both sides of the ball. For further coverage, we go to a Yinzer to give his take.
The Blue Men are a bunch of jagoffs. I was busy yelling at Ma to turn off Jeopardy, but I had... My favorite part of the game was when Big Ben threw the football. When the Steelers won the game, I went out in my 87 Camaro and blasted the Renegade. Great win! Steelers again Super Bowl!
Yes, very captivating. I consider Denver to be a dark horse this season. This obviously means the Broncos must be punished. Von Miller, you seem like a good enough chap. Here's a season-ending ankle injury. With the Broncos reeling, this game became a battle of attrition. Not in terms of more injuries, but in how badly did these teams want to hand the other team a win. The Titans, how can I say this, are a kicker without a leg. Steven Gostkowski might be cooked. He was whiffing nearly everything in sight. 10 points shaved off the board from his misses. A good team would take incredible advantage of these many gifts, but now we have to take a journey into the vast brain of Vic Fangio. It's the final drive of the game, and all you need is a stop to escape with the win. You have all 3 timeouts at your disposal. Managing this clock is your highest priority at this point, but here is where we get our lolcow of the week. In Fangio's world, you don't need timeouts. Saving clock is for the weak. He's so confident that Gostkowski will miss again that he will just let them waltz down the field for a gimme shot. Do you understand how fucking stupid that is? I don't care that he's washed. Even high schoolers can make that kick. Now you have no time for your own assault with all of your timeouts saved for the end days. What the fuck were you thinking? This is the kind of shit that gets coaches fired. Andy Reid in Philly could run circles around you in terms of clock management. Sure, blame the drops, but you dropped more than your fair share of this debacle. Jesus. Blood for the blood god. Injuries for the injury god.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
May these offerings appease the gods for another week. Amen.
Garoppolo to throw. Mostert with an opening. Mostert's got great speed and nobody in front of him. Raheem Mostert is going to take it to the house, galloping in for a 76-yard touchdown.